Yo, what's going on, guys? Today, we'll be going over my games from the Clash Royale League monthly final. The monthly final is just the top 8 players. The person who gets number 1 gets a golden ticket, and basically what that means is that when you get a golden ticket, you are instantly qualified for the Clash Royale League World Finals. And the World Finals are really where most of the money is made from this. Or if you get number 2 and the number 1 player already has a golden ticket, then you get the golden ticket even for being number 2. So for game 1 here against Coco, I decided to play a Goblin Drill Poison deck. Kind of an interesting variation. I put the Ice Golem in there. Well, actually my coach did. My coach was giving me these nice decks here. I was also on call with Riley as well. Went for the Drill. I thought he might have Dark Prince, which would have made this matchup pretty terrible. But luckily for me, he just had a Knight, which isn't that good against Drill. So when I went for that Drill, what I realized is that I have the true red, true blue thing. I have it working better on the right side, because basically, if I play a Drill and he plays a Knight reactively on the left side, the Knight will still catch the first Goblin, but if it's on the right side, if he plays a Knight reactively, it won't catch the first Goblin. So yeah, that's basically what it means. So I decided to go in for a Drill push here, had some pretty nice stuff stacked up. He did decide to poison a little bit aggressively. And yeah, you can see the Goblin gets right on the tower really quickly. Drill did get a small nerf though, so it's not quite as good as before. And also, you get to the Evo Bomber way less now, ever since the Evo Bomber nerf. So I knew this matchup, even though it probably used to be pretty solid, I knew it would be a lot more even now, probably anyone's game. Maybe slightly in my favor though. Wasn't really sure how the Ice Golem would work. See, I did want to go on the right side because I had the better true red, true blue thing, but I kind of had to push on the left side because I didn't want to go same lane in this type of matchup. If you go same lane, they pretty much just poison cycle you out, and there's not too much you can do about it. So I just knew I would just have to try to get some Evo Bombers or something like that in order to get most of my damage in this matchup. He went for the guard, so I saw a free Evo Bomber opportunity. He was able to block it, but I'm pretty sure he probably had someone on call telling him that I had my Evo Bomber ready. A lot of these players do have someone calling with them just to help them out, you know? Just their friends and whatever. I went for the poison on the Little Prince. I wasn't afraid to cycle my poison because I knew I could always go for guards if he played a graveyard. He was playing really passively, actually. Didn't play a single graveyard up until this point. Just went in for another Drill. He wasted the Knight at the perfect time for me. Yeah, and he finally went for the graveyard. I knew I had to go for a Little Prince because otherwise the skeletons could sometimes go a bit crazy, but had a bit of weird graveyard RNG. The skeletons just spawned really not where I wanted them to, and I took so much damage from that. That was kind of unlucky, to be honest, that they spawned like that. Went for the poison on offense because I knew I just needed some damage. I couldn't keep playing safe, otherwise I'd just lose either way. And somehow the Goblin actually got on tower. I think with the luck of Riley, that Goblin somehow went for the tower instead of the Knight, but yeah, I was pretty happy about that. I don't know why he went for the Little Prince. I think he thought I had Evo Bomber and Cycle, even though I didn't. A lot of people make that mistake ever since the nerf to it. People just start to lose track. Honestly, I could have played the Evo Tesla here, but I decided just to arrows instead. But yeah, looking back, I should have played the Evo Tesla probably. So I took a bit of unnecessary damage, and he was able to catch my Evo Bomber. I thought I might have lost at this point because once the game gets later and later, it becomes better and better for Graveyard. So I thought I probably lost at this point. I also had to go for the Little Prince ability so the Ice Golem would actually tank for everything. And I went for the Drill on this side. I was hoping he would Knight in front and try to predict it, and I was actually right that he would go for the Knight in front, so I got a little bit of Goblin damage, only one single stab, but also forced out the extra snowball, so that was a pretty big interaction for me. The thing is, you just can't really break through an Evo Tesla at the bridge. You can't really cross the bridge once they have an Evo Tesla down. I don't know about his Guardian ability. I wouldn't say it's that terrible, but not that good either. But yeah, I still thought I lost at this point. I wasn't even too close to my Evo Bomber either. I had to cycle a whole normal Bomber before I got to that. And somehow the Goblin got on tower. You guys can see, like, these little Goblins are just always somehow getting on tower, and he messed up the prediction again. He thought I would go for an Evo Bomber when I didn't even have it in cycle. I don't know why he kept on doing that. He didn't learn his lesson after a few times. He did catch my front Drill, but I knew I could poison on offense because he just didn't have enough time. He went for a super weirdly placed graveyard, but didn't really matter with such a little amount of time left, and I took the first win, 1-0. Next up, I decided to go for a balloon freeze deck. I was just hoping to face Lava Hound or some type of beatdown deck, because this deck does do pretty well against most beatdown. I didn't want to make the first play because the deck is really heavy, so you kind of want to wait until double elixir, unless your opponent forces you to play early. He played the Void, so I cycled my Barbaro. Didn't really want to play anything else. He finally played the Night Witch, so I played my Wizard in the back into it. When I saw the Night Witch, I still wasn't sure what it could be because some Lava Hound decks do have Night Witch, but I was thinking it might be Giant. Yeah, then he played his Wizard and I knew he had a Giant deck. We knew that Giant was a threat, so I was thinking hopefully this would be a good matchup, but it really just depends what air responses they have in their deck. My cycle is so bad right now. I kind of had to balloon. I didn't really want to balloon in this matchup until double elixir, but I didn't really have much of a choice. I could have either played my Barbs or balloon, or nothing. He went for the Giant, so I kind of had to just go for the Barbs. I made sure to split them up pretty nicely so the Skeleton Dragons got pretty minimal splash on the Barbs. He did get one hit, but I feel like it was kind of worth it. Kind of sad that the balloon on the right side got fully countered by just arrows. Not really sure what the Night Witch was by him. I'm not sure if he thought that could actually get damage or if he was simply trying to force out the Evo Wizard. On second thought, I probably could have played the Evo Wizard a bit farther back so I could have stuck in a Monk in front of it because Evo Wizard, once it's getting tanked for by something, it's so hard for the opponent to kill, usually, because then they have to put something right onto it and then the Wizard Explosion thing gets so much value. I cycled the Inferno Dragon, wasn't really scared to do that because I knew if he tried to Giant, we had the Barbs as well in cycle. And he only had Void, so he couldn't really kill the Barbs too easily. The thing is, though, the main concern for me was his Wizard. And I actually got a balloon at the perfect timing. Once again, had just such a bad cycle, I kind of had to go for it. And I did decide to freeze as well, which I knew could get some pretty nice damage, and I thought I might be able to win if I could defend here. Went for the Wizard here, but then he played the Barbs, and I just knew I lost the game at this point. I thought this matchup was decent, but to be honest, I feel like the Wizard completely destroyed me. I'm not really sure what I could have done differently. Either I just had to not freeze on offense, or I could have played the Wizard on the right side and Barbs on the left, but I think the Barbs would have just got wrecked by the Evo Wizard anyway, so I guess the only option there was to not freeze with the balloon. That's the main play I could have done better, I would say. Yeah, so I ended up getting a loss, and we were now 1-1. For game 3, I decided to play this RG deck. I just wanted to play an RG deck that would be able to beat most cycle decks. I wasted Monk in the second game with the balloon deck, so I had no option of putting Monk in this deck. Didn't really have any great tank. I could have put Giant Skeleton, but it can be a bit risky, so I didn't want to do that. When I saw the Bats and Goblins, I thought maybe it could be a weird Mega Knight deck of some kind. He played the Firecracker. Not very useful in this matchup for him to get the King Tower up, and there I saw the Hog Rider. I knew the Fisherman would allow our King Tower to activate, which was pretty useful. I could have went for the RG, I didn't go for it though, I think because I thought he might have Mega Knight still, but then he showed the Monk and I knew he just had a normal Hog cycle deck. Honestly, maybe could have got a ton of damage there with an RG, but didn't want to risk that. I just decided to go for the RG all the way in the back. I knew the E-Spirit would be very good to kill the Bats and the Log would be very good to kill the Goblins, but I knew that he was going to have Evo Bats, and Evo Bats are pretty tough to kill, actually. E-Spirit doesn't kill them, and you just need to get, like, I guess a Firecracker or a Phoenix to kill them, which isn't the best response. He ended up playing the Goblins. Would have been nice for me if he played the Bats right there, but it was okay. No damage, but the Lightning alone actually did quite a bit, and a little bit of Firecracker chip as well. I do usually like to go opposite lane with RG, and since he also had Monk, I didn't want to go same lane and just feed his Monk. I knew that my Phoenix could be very useful to counter the Monk. He played the Monk in the back on the opposite side. I could have maybe went aggressive for an RG, but I knew he had the Evo Bats, so yeah, that probably would have been pretty risky and maybe not the best play. He wasted the Inferno Tower for no reason, not really sure what he was trying to do. Maybe he really thought I was going to RG, even though I wasn't. So I just decided to set up with the RG push, and I was fine with that. I knew he might Hog Rider, but yeah, I don't know why he did that. I was thinking he might do that, but it was honestly not a very smart play. There was really no reason to do that. I thought Fisherman might have been going on the right side, but it actually turned back to the left, luckily. And there he decided to play the Evo Bats. Had to try to kill them with my Phoenix, and I went for the Lightning. I don't know why he played the Monk there, but he got Kind of lucky there that the fisherman pulled it just in the nick of time, but still the ghost was able to chip away pretty nicely. I went in aggressive for another RG. I knew his cycle was somewhat bad, so I thought maybe I could get some nice damage here. Went for the fisherman too, and then just logged away these goblins. He played the Inferno tower, but very late, and I actually got 2 RG shots on the tower, and the fisherman was able to pull in the firecracker. The fisherman did die, but it didn't really matter too much at this point. I pretty much had everything I need. I had the fisherman for the hog rider, lightning for the Inferno tower, E-spirit for the bats, and log for the goblins. The only tough thing was the firecracker, but I feel like he didn't play particularly well, so I was fine. And actually the fisherman reset to the hog rider. I love that interaction. So basically when a monk has its ability popped and a fisherman is onto it, if it's not able to pull the monk because of the ability, then it resets onto a unit that's closer to it. If there is a unit closer to it. If there's a unit farther away, I'm pretty sure it just stays on the monk, but not 100% on that one. And look, watch it happen again. I don't think it really mattered because I probably would have won either way, but yeah, I was able to take the duel 2-1. At this point, I was in the top 5 to 6. I was up against the only 2-time Clash Royale League World Champion, Mogi. I decided to play Lava Hound Void. Very strong deck right now. To be honest, it's almost uncounterable. Even if your opponent does have good lava counters, the Void just destroys most of them. He played the arrow, so I decided to Lava Hound. I knew I was up maybe like 2 elixir or so. And when you're up 2 elixir, you can pretty much already just Lava Hound and not really get punished for it. I saw the Little Prince and I was thinking it might be Giant Graveyard. I went for the really early Void here on the Little Prince, and for some reason Mogi decided to defend it. I think Mogi just hasn't been practicing recently, so he didn't realize that the Void would actually kill the Little Prince there. So he pretty much just wasted 4 elixir on the Dark Prince for no reason. He had the bats, but I had the zap for it. And at this point I knew I might have won because he missed the snowball and he mistimed the arrows. Which is kind of insane to mistime both of those at the same time. Yeah, that was kind of crazy, honestly. And at this point I knew I pretty much just had to defend and I would win. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next match. So I was feeling pretty good being up 1-0 against Mogi. Mugi's obviously one of the best players in the world, but I did beat him last month in the monthly finals, so I knew I could do it again if I played well enough. I decided to play Drill Monk in the second game. When I saw the Ghost, I already knew it would probably be some type of difficult matchup, and I saw the E-Spirit, so I knew it had to be RG. He had the Barbarel as well. So I just knew I was going to be in for quite a difficult matchup, and yeah, there's the RG. You just never want to face RG Ghost with this deck. If they have RG with no Ghost, you can definitely win, or even if they don't have Barbarel, it definitely helps out quite a bit, but if they have both, that's pretty terrible. I got some really good guards here up high. Was able to block the Fisherman and just pretty much kill the RG. Half the time you don't even have to spend your Tesla against the RG. I thought the Fisherman might have gone on the guard first, so I got a bit of a late monk, but was able to kill the Firecracker. He got his king up for it, but wasn't terrible for me. I thought I might get some nice damage here because he also, you know, wasted his Barbarel and everything. Unfortunately, only got 1 Goblin stab, but still wasn't that bad of a start. I know here I was pretty much even in elixir, so I was thinking he probably wouldn't try to RG the breach. You can never be too sure, though. So I was off to a pretty good start. At this point, I wasn't really sure if he had some tank with his RG or not, so yeah. Didn't want to do anything too crazy. I feel like in this match, we don't even want to play too many Goblin drills unless your opponent has a bad cycle without Ghost and stuff like that. Just repeated the same interaction here. No reason not to. I knew the Monk would counter the RG pretty well. Went in for the drill, but the Firecracker actually ran away from the RG. But luckily the Ice Spirit did save me. Maybe I could have logged on second thought. I didn't log there, so the Firecracker did die. I think if I logged there, that might have actually been super good for me and quite a bit of damage. Mogi was honestly playing pretty bad. At least at the start of this match. I feel like he kept on going for RGs in the back instead of monks like he should have. He should have been building his pushes up with monks instead of with RGs. He finally played the monk there. I didn't even realize he had monk for a while. He got the Firecracker off, but I knew I could just ability onto it. Was hoping my Firecracker wouldn't die, but it actually died somehow. I think because of the buff it got, that Firecracker was able to kill mine. And here I knew I was going to be in a lot of trouble and probably just died. But I wasn't sure how much damage I might take. Went for the guards low. My Firecracker was able to splash his Firecracker, but his Firecracker still ran, but ended up dying anyways, somehow. But he got 2 RG hits. If he got 1 RG hit, I wouldn't have been too mad, but yeah, I kind of knew that it would be pretty tough to come back at this point. But yeah, I feel like it was really that one time I didn't log right there. But you can't really blame me too much because it's kind of important to play passive in these competitions. You don't want to be too aggressive, otherwise it's so easy to choke. So it's kind of better to play a little bit more passive than to be too aggressive, I feel like. Got to drill off to the side because he had somewhat of a bad cycle, but still the barbell kind of saved him. If he had like a rage or something, I feel like I would have gotten quite a bit of drill damage quite a few times. And I was already down elixir here. But yeah, I really don't know why Mogi wasn't playing his monk more often. He was just being so weird about it, never really building up a push with it properly. But I knew here he'd probably get a double lane RG push, which could be almost impossible for me to stop. He also had the lightning, so my Teslas, they were okay, but I knew he could always pull out a crazy lightning and just ruin my entire defense. I thought I was in a little bit of trouble here. Luckily my guards did kill the firecracker, but unfortunately I couldn't get the ice spirit down in time for his RG, and even though I was playing so, I feel like I was playing so well here, but yeah, I mean, I just couldn't break through. I went for a bit of an early monk ability. I don't think it really mattered much though anyways. Didn't want to completely give up though. Played the drill all the way in the back, trying to maybe avoid a ghost or something like that. And I actually was able to, kind of funnily. No damage though, for me. I went for the early monk ability, and I got it perfectly. If the fisherman pulls your monk right as it's about to get in the animation, it just will get in the animation right as it lands where the fisherman is pulling it. I was actually kind of starting to come back here a little bit. I think he messed up the barbell a little bit or something. But unfortunately his firecracker actually reached the tower. And yeah, I mean, I played well, but a little bit of a difficult matchup. Mogi played well towards the end of the match, I will give him that. I was 1-1 against Mogi. I decided to go for a goblin giant skeleton deck for game 3. Honestly, a pretty risky pick because I pretty much never practiced much goblin giant recently. The reason why is because goblin giant's pretty much irrelevant in this meta with all the giant. Giant is just so much better in most decks, except of this one, I feel like. I just went aggressive with the goblin giant. I was pretty sure he would have goblin drill once I saw the Tesla and Bomber. But then I saw the golden knight. And I was thinking there might be a chance it could be something like E-Giant, but was still pretty sure it would be a Goblin Drill deck. Got a pretty nice rage, but I knew the Goblin Giant would pretty much just die either way. I went in for the Giant Skeleton just in case he had an E-Giant still. I wasn't sure if he'd have a big spell or not in this deck. I was very happy to have the Fireball for the Skeleton Dragons, and I just decided to Bats here as well. Yeah, so at this point I pretty much knew what his deck was going to be. Those were some really nice bats there, forcing out the whole guards. I knew the Magic Archer wouldn't really get much damage, so I just decided not to respond to it. It only gets like 1 hit on the tower if you ignore it, and you have Dagger Duchess. Yeah, so instead I just decided to cycle the Little Prince. I wasn't sure if he had no poison yet, but I was pretty sure he'd either have Tornado or poison, but not both. Didn't really know exactly what to do here. There wasn't any amazing play to do, I feel like. I think I did end up cycling the wizard in the back. Yeah, just because I wanted to get to the Evo wizard, I decided to do that. And I think I did decide to go in aggressively here because he wasted the Golden Knight, so I knew he'd have no tank. And he went in aggressively himself with the drill, so I was thinking, okay, maybe I can just tower trade here, and maybe not even lose my entire tower because of my Evo Bats. Evo Bats did kind of defend, but dude, the Evo Bomber of his just destroyed my stuff. And man, the Spear Goblin activated the King Tower, and here I was pretty sure I probably lost. In hindsight, I think I should have just defended instead of going in. I treated my Goblin Giant like it was a Giant. If that was a Giant, I think that would have taken Tower. Or maybe if I played the Bats on offense instead of defense, I could have Tower traded. The tough thing about it, though, is that I know I misplayed there, and I should have done better, but it was just kind of tough to actually know that, because I didn't really play Goblin Giant at all, you know? So it's kind of just deciding stuff on the spot. Here I thought I might have had something. But yeah. And honestly, guys, I feel like this matchup was actually quite solid for me. I didn't have too many drill responses, but he couldn't really kill a big Evo Wizard, Goblin Giant, Giant Skeleton push, I feel like. And he had no big spell, so yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I lost an easy matchup here against Mogi. Maybe not easy, but definitely a solid matchup. So yeah, I moved down to the lower bracket. Next up, I had to get through Mohamed Light. I knew that whoever lost this match would be completely out of the tournament. I already knocked Mohamed Light out of the Cal Cup a couple weeks ago or so, so I knew it would be pretty difficult to knock him out once again. Mohamed Light is known for always doing pretty well in the lower bracket. He usually loses kind of early on and then just wins against everyone in the lower bracket and somehow still wins the whole tournament. When I saw the Mortar and Goblins, I knew he was playing Graveyard, which I thought could be a little bit of a difficult matchup, but maybe not unbeatable because I had Goblins, which are a pretty cheap Graveyard counter. I didn't want to be too aggressive with my Lava Hound, I just decided to play it safe and void out the Little Prince. Dude, my Void was acting up, I don't know what happened exactly, it didn't really do its job right there. So I kind of had to arrows. Not even sure if I needed to do those arrows though, maybe I could have just went for a Barbs if he decided to pop the ability. Mohamed Light completely messed up the Barb Arrow for no reason, not really sure why he did that. That was kind of a waste. Had to waste the Inferno Dragon. Even though it might not seem like a big deal, it was actually pretty bad for me because I had the Goblins instead of like Skeleton Dragons or something, so once I wasted the Inferno Dragon I pretty much couldn't make a Lava Hound push, I just had to reset basically. And I heard from some Lava players later that this matchup is actually not half bad in single Elixir, but once you get to double and triple it's pretty much impossible. Not impossible, but just like way harder. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't know, just some interactions didn't exactly go my way, so I already was feeling not too good about this. I mean, it's kind of weird. A really good Lava player said that Lava Hound can win in this matchup, and might actually have a good matchup, but whenever we played it in practice, a lot of people were saying that the Mortar deck counters, so it's kind of weird. I guess maybe if you really know how to play Lava, you can win in this matchup. You just have to know every little thing, which I unfortunately didn't know every little thing. Here I thought I just died, but I was able to get a very nice Void. And I think I killed the Little Prince, yeah. And that was actually a very bad ability by Mohamed Light. He just did that for no reason, pretty much a wasted 3 Elixir. And apparently a Lava Hound player also told me after that it's better to go opposite lane in this matchup. I don't think it makes the biggest difference, but I don't know. Here I could have played the Inferno Dragon early, but I felt like if I did that, then my Lava push would just be nothing. So I decided to take a little bit of damage here, and I think I just went for the late Goblins and zap onto it. Yeah. Tried to void out the Little Prince. Luckily for me, he failed the block on the Void, which was great. And the Knight took a lot of damage too, so I went in for the Balloon, and I thought maybe this could be a good push for me. But the thing is, he just had so much air defense, the Phoenix stacking, Little Princes, Poisons, everything like that. And he wasn't even playing his Graveyard at all this entire game, he was just always going for the Mortars, and the Mortars were kind of tough to stop sometimes. If I didn't have the right cards in cycle. I mean, the Inferno Dragon was probably my best response to it, but the Inferno Dragon, if I wasted it, then I just couldn't really make a push after. Yeah, just decided to void this Mortar. I mean, Void is a good response too, but you can see if they block it, then it just doesn't really do too much. I mean, it still did a lot there since he didn't block the first wave, and I have no idea how that got on tower. I honestly don't. I thought for sure the Barbs blocked it right there. I did arrows everything here. Thought I had something going, but my tower was already so low at this point that I didn't think I could really win anymore. I feel like my play was actually pretty good, except the fact that I just wasn't aggressive enough in single Elixir. I think that's really the main thing in this match. If I was more aggressive in single Elixir, I think maybe I would have won, because I feel like my interactions were actually quite on point for the most part in this match. He got another Mortar shot, though. I feel like his Mortars were kind of crazy. And yeah, also going opposite lane probably would have been a good idea. It's just tough though, because you're not going to know all those little things if you're not a Lava Hound one trick. If you're just someone who's playing Lava Hound, sometimes you're not going to know all those little things, so yeah. But at least I'll know for next time, right? I thought the Mortar would get one more shot, but actually luckily for me, this time it didn't, so I just went all in. I thought maybe I could pull something, but I pretty much knew I was going to probably lose this match, and yeah, when he got the poison down, I knew there would be no time for me. So after this match, I played one more against Mohamed Light, and I did lose, unfortunately. I think I had a good matchup the second match against him, but yeah. I did end up getting top 5, and I am currently top 2 now on the points leaderboard. There are a few people ahead of me, but the top 2 players both already have a golden ticket now, so they're not counted on the leaderboard. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!